For all things great iron and hard top, it's Kevlu and since the Sandbox.
What's going on, since the Sandbox fans? We are back with another video, and today we're talking ball. That's obviously why you're hearing my voice. And we're going to talk a little bit Washington Wizards and whether or not we think, A, Beal and Westbrook is going to work out, and B, do we think it's too late to kind of, be a playoff team and make that push? I know it's still early in the season, but things haven't started off well in Washington. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's way too late.
Really?
2 years too late. Seriously. You have one of the best scorers in the NBA with a guy who's an all-star player, but they just don't mesh. They both need the ball in their hands. Russ can't shoot. I get he hit one game-winning three, but come on now. He can't shoot. He's hurt. He's older. It just doesn't make any sense. I think they have to do their best to find a team that will take him, that can use him, and then get Beal out of there for a haul. An absolute haul. And then you still have young guys, you know what I mean? You still have Bertans and Hachimura. And then you could kind of try to build around them or get one other star, you know what I mean? But I just think it's way too late. They're not even competitive.
No, I feel that. But what's a borderline playoff team right now in the East? So the Hawks are probably around 6. So who's probably around 8?
Toronto.
Toronto type of team.
Knicks, are the Knicks right there?
Yeah,
because
they might even be a little higher than.
Possibly.
Yeah, they could. Be
the Wizards are really low, and they're gonna have to do a lot of drastic, consistent change to be a team that wants to be borderline playoff. I think it's kind of early to say that Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook isn't gonna work out. What they play, 18 games, maybe 13 together.
Yeah.
So, I think that narrative might be a little too early, but I understand the whole panic behind it because when you sacrifice as much as you do and you have blockbuster guys like Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook, that's something that just has playoffs written all over it, right? So, that's a team that probably has expectations to be top 5 just because those two names alone. But I think, if they can go push 500 over the next 3 weeks and maybe stay afloat, stay competitive, I think that would make some teams go below them in the East, maybe an Orlando team or something like that, and maybe that can push for some momentum to maybe bring along another guy around the playoff deadline and possibly get around, like I said, that 8 bottom playoff, but I definitely don't think that this is a team that'll be anywhere around the 5.
Yeah, it's tough because it really all comes down to what you're looking at as far as a successful season. If you're the Wizards, are you talking about just making the playoffs, being a 7 or 8 seed? Because I think it's definitely possible. It's still so early in the season. There's no seeds are locked in yet. But I think if you're a guy like Bradley Beal, you're looking to play for a contender. You know what I mean? Not that Westbrook isn't, but Westbrook's kind of used to being the guy to carry his team to the playoffs. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not saying that Beal can, but Beal's at the point in his career. He just wants to win. You know what I mean? And I don't think they're going to do that in Washington. I do think they have a good young team, but like Lou said, that duo of Westbrook and Beal just isn't going to work out. And it's not either of their two's fault individually. It's just their gameplay. And like I said, I think it was last week on one of the debate videos, we've seen time and time again, besides the exception of maybe Steph and Clay, we really haven't seen that many backcourt duos play at that caliber championship level. You know what I mean? It really is the big man wing duo that dominates the game, and that's the thing that worries me a little bit about Washington because they have some good young big guys like Hachimura, like Bertans, Thomas Bryant, even though he's injured. But none of those guys are going to be a guy that's going to step up with Beal or Westbrook and carry them to a championship. So if you wanted to talk about the Wizards going out and getting a solid big man, then making a playoff push, then I would entertain that. But
Drummond?
I think
that's probably their best bet.
But again, is Drummond going to go to the Wizards given their history? I don't know. But if that was something were to happen, then this is a totally different conversation. But I think, how the team is now, I don't even see them pushing that 8 seed.
No, that's fair enough. Lou, before you jump in, I know because you said that the whole backcourt thing, the Trailblazers are another team that has that type of thing. So do you think that they're a team that, unless they move one of those two guys, that they're not going to be able to get to the promised land either? I know that's mellow, so it might be a little personal.
It's tough because I do think, the other players they have on their roster are better than I mean, you got Nurkic, who's better than anyone the Wizards have. You have Melo, even though he's old, still a better scorer than most of the guys on the Wizards besides Westbrook and Beal. So they still have pieces that they can win with. Washington, it's literally just them. Like, if you go down the line, it's Beal and Westbrook, and then besides maybe Bertans, if he's hitting his threes, no one else in that lineup's putting up 15, 20-plus nightly. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it's just tough.
Yeah, I think that's really what it comes down to is, like, they probably have the worst defensive big men on, like, the planet.
Yeah.
Like, Thomas Bryant's out, but he sucks on defense. Bertans can't guard anybody. Even for, like, guards like Ish Smith, like, he's not guarding anybody. Westbrook plays some like, when Westbrook is your best defender, like, I mean, that's, like, when you're like, okay, like, he's a solid defender, but it's more a hustle than, like, defense. And, like, with the Blazers, again, like, I don't think they'll ever win anything. But they're competitive because Dame is better than Bradley Beal and Westbrook, like, let's face it. And then, like Kev said, they have the big men. They have, like, a solid bench. And who's their coach there? Terry Stotts?
Yep.
Like, he's actually, like, a pretty decent coach. So, like, I just think it's tough. Like, I think
they just
franchise.
Need to improve the roster.
Yeah, overhaul. Like,
so
really.
here's an interesting question then. If you're the Wizards, right, and you go to rebuild... Because it's kind of like a trick question. Who do you look at getting rid of? Because I feel like if you're the Wizards, you would want to keep Beal, but I feel like Beal's also more valuable in the trade market. You really wouldn't get as much for Westbrook as you would for Beal.
If you want my honest opinion, I think you're looking to stabilize your franchise around someone other than both of those two guys.
Right.
I think
do that too.
I think Bradley Beal is the first person that you trade because you do get the most value, and he's been there, and it just hasn't worked. And I mean, it's not like you haven't tried, you know what I mean? Like, you try to get him Westbrook to make a push with him, that's great, but it's probably just time for a change of scenery. And Westbrook can be that player that can keep you stable until you do get, you know, that Wiseman like Golden State just got, or whoever becomes like that Doncic
the next
for the
face
Mavs,
of
you know what I mean?
The franchise, yeah.
So that's what I think their right steps would be, and that would give them time, fix their salary cap situation. I'm sure they have a lot of money towards Beal and towards Westbrook. This way they'll have the maxes available, and then who knows, you know, maybe a tandem like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown after that amount of time that we're talking about might not work out, or maybe it does, or another tandem around the NBA. You can have one of those guys right around their late 20s that you can go and claim because you have nothing to lose and everything to gain, you know?
Yeah, I think another team that could be, like, sneaky for him, kind of the Heat, because, like, they have the young assets.
You're talking about for Beal, right?
Yeah, for Beal. Like, the young assets, they have draft picks, and it's like, you really wouldn't give up a first, a second, and Tyler Hero, and maybe, like, Kelly Olynyk for Bradley Beal. Like, you know what I mean? Or 2 firsts in Tyler Hero. Like, he's not that good.
Yeah.
That, you know what I mean? And you don't need draft picks. Everyone's young besides Jimmy Butler and Haslam, who's just doesn't play. So, like, I feel like that's a perfect spot. Or a team like the Kings that doesn't really have a second scorer, and they have big men, you know what I mean? Yeah. With like, Marvin Bagley's good, but, like, he can be replaced.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
He can be replaced.
Definitely.
Marvin Bagley in a first-round pick, and maybe another shooter, or Buddy Hield in a first.
Even if they get rid of Bagley, they still got Whiteside on the bench too.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Well, Kev, what if a team like the Suns wanted to take their team to the next level? You know what I mean? That could be a fit there. The Knicks could have a new face of the franchise if they went out and got Beal. What if Giannis was unhappy at that point in time? Him and Beal could team up together, and I feel like they could be a team that could have one of the best 2-1 punches in the East. I mean, if Giannis and Beal ever got to play together, that would already push KD and Harden. I honestly think.
They'd have to get rid of Middleton, though, and then...
No, I'm saying it might not even be on the Bucks. It could be somewhere else.
Yeah, you're saying if they move Giannis. Yeah, it could be.
You know?
Could be. I mean, I like the Knicks for Beal too, but I just feel like he's not going to want to go there because they're not a contender and he wants to win. But then again, it's like if you want to go to a contender, like, what is a contender really going to give up? Like, a team like the Lakers, like, realistically, what are they going to give up for the Wizards that's going to value them? You know what I mean?
The Mavericks, too. I mean, the Mavericks have picks, and they have, like, decent players. Like, they could literally give you, like, Tim Hardaway, 2 firsts, and what's his name? Dorian Finney-Smith.
The Mavs would be a crazy fit.
That'd be a good team. You know what I mean? There's just a lot of middle-of-the-road teams. Not that the Heat's a middle-of-the-road team, but, like, they're not as talented as the rest of some teams, and they have depth to move.
And Beal's, like, I feel like Beal's, like, the best 2-guard option to go in and make an impact on any team right away. You know what I mean? Because
Outside of Clay, yeah.
Yeah, because he defends, he can shoot, he can drive. Like, literally, but besides Clay, there's really, like, can you really name a better all-around two-guard? I mean, maybe if you want to consider Jaylen Brown a two-guard, you could say him.
Yeah,
but
or
I still think
Nah.
I would still give it to Beal just because I feel like he's
Maybe
more of a
Luka,
consistent scorer.
whatever
Yeah.
you consider him.
Yeah, that'd be it.
Yeah.
Maybe
so.
2-3 guys at most.
It's a shame, man. Bradley Beal rotting away in Washington.
Yep.
Hey, but we'll see what happens though, because we've seen like how KD just did. Like they just choose a franchise in the offseason. They know that they're gonna get dealt, or they know that they're gonna be a free agent, and multiple guys can have those conversations now. We see what's happening in football with Deshaun Watson, so maybe that something becomes a little more normal and regular. And
Maybe a team like the Clippers.
Yeah.
Orlando has assets to move for days. Cole Anthony, Aaron Gordon, Terrence Ross, picks.
Yeah.
Vucevic, no, they
You can't move that. You can't move my man.
I wouldn't either.
But guys, let us know what you think about the whole Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook scenario. What you think is going to happen with those guys in the Washington Wizards. Subscribe, check out the rest of our videos, and make sure you go leave our podcast 5 stars. If it's not 5 stars, we don't want it.
Nope.
Peace out.